Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Tuesday, the 2nd of October, and I'm your host, Shozen. And with me today, as always, is your co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Sorry, I wrote that wrong.
Oh,
But it's Wednesday.
oh yeah. Thanks.
The date is correct.
What am I? Yeah. You were also muted in the beginning. I had a bunch of OBS difficulties right before we launched.
Oh well. Can you hear me now, though?
Yeah, they can hear you now.
Okay. Oh well. It says Wednesday on stream. We are Wednesday. What we say is one of the things that are not that. Well, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Not only did we want to talk about the June versus Money Guild developments that have been happening overnight and caused a lot of discussion, but we also, just before the show, got hit with some very interesting news in regards to silver sinks and a intended rebalance of some of these. So I don't even know where to start. Or do we even have other stuff that we need to remind people of, Shozen? Or do we just have these two very big things today?
Well, there's a lot of things today. We could talk about the reminders that we have, the PSAs, the simple ones. That Invasion Day was
okay. Really quick then?
Yeah, go for it. You do it. Because I know
Okay.
you really want to get into this, so I'll let you do it so that I don't pontificate.
Yes, we had the Invasion Day over the weekend. We wanted to remind you that you can still watch the VODs here on Twitch. Just go back and click through it. It's very exciting what happened over the weekend. It's always a fun thing that happened there. Shozen and Lupa cast these, and they are on Twitch to watch for everybody. Then we had the Harvest Challenge relaunch on Monday. Actually Tuesday, yesterday. And the new referral season also launched because it's the 1st of October. If you haven't seen these yet in game, then you can check them out if you click the Adventurous Challenge, or if you look at the settings, invite friend little icon there. Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time with this. I will link these in chat so people can look at them if they haven't seen them. But I want to talk about the big things that happened today.
The silver sink
talk
adjustment.
Half an hour, but yeah. Well,
okay.
Did you see these? Did you have time? Did you have time to read these, or did you?
Which ones? The silver sink?
Yes, I mean the details of that. Did you have time to go into the details?
I did read the details a little bit. We talked, well, you and I talked about the beginning of it. We didn't talk about the details too in depth. But yes, absolutely. I looked at this. I saw that this is basically two parts. We have our universal tax systems, that are in the game already, that we already know about. Your market order fee has gone up. Your repair costs are going up. Your market taxes are going up. The cost of buying additional bank tabs. The cost of upgrading your island. The cost of converting fame to credits, the fast travel, the re-rolling of item quality, all this, all that has been increased, right? That's all those costs increased.
Are scheduled to be increased with a patch.
With a new patch.
Supposed to come October 9th.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is the announcement.
There's more. There's more. There's more.
Oh, really?
They're reducing the rate at which silver is generated by the black market, and they're completely changing the way the transmute works in the refining system. It's completely reworked. Bogul, do you want to talk about that? Because if we talk about these, the cost of repair cost and the market fees and all that, yes, these make sense. Some of these are going to be really painful. Some of these may have to be adjusted over time. Some of them are going to hurt more than others. I'm looking at fame to credits. I'm looking at repair cost. I'm going, ouch. I think, does anybody actually re-roll now? Ouch.
Yes. So I think we skipped over one quite important thing as to why they're announcing these changes. now,
Okay,
and
go ahead.
why they're making this public now. So Altharion the game director of Albion Online, went to the forums to talk about the drastically increased silver to gold conversion ratio that happened over the last few months. We've talked about this on Albion TV here quite a bit, where we had even various games as to whether or not it will happen 4,000, 4,200, even go higher or not, and whether or not this trend will continue. And apparently, they weren't quite happy with this development. One note made there is that they had, over time, given more buffs to the silver income that was able to be generated through PvE and other activities, but not quite in line with that, adjusted the silver sinks to the economy. And now this is the consequence of looking at this again and trying to balance that out a bit. Because in my personal opinion, because everybody was going on about the silver to gold ratio. And I mean, we sort of know that a very high exchange rate isn't the best thing you want, I think, from a game design standpoint, because it just makes it very hard for new players, to get over that first hill and then sort of afford your game time with that potentially. And now they're adjusting it, yeah. And it's to me that I didn't see anything that super sticks out from these changes, and I think I would rather wait a little bit until specifically tomorrow to look at these changes more in detail, because tomorrow we have our Economy Thursday, and we will have 24 hours to look at these, think about these a little bit more, and get some comments in, maybe even some adjustments. And I suggest we talk about this in more detail tomorrow. How about that?
Yes. I think we can get a little bit more detail on this, but there are some very interesting aspects of this, and I do find the transmute changes to be very interesting, and I believe we're going to see some lowering of cost on some of these 0.2 and 0.3 materials if this is the way it's going to work. I'm very interested to see how this works.
I guess I have to take a minute to explain that as well. So
Please do,
not
yeah.
only were the fees you pay for certain things you do in game increased, the ones you mentioned at the beginning, but also they are changing the way transmutation works. So you can right now in the refining stations, if you have a certain amount of raw resource, transmute that into a higher tier or into a higher enchantment level, and they are basically reducing the cost of that process. They are also changing a little bit of the formula as to what you need to get higher tiers. There is a little bit of an inconsistency in there, so I don't want to go into explaining how that works. But basically, they, as far as I understand it, they are making it cheaper to transmute raw resources into higher tiers and into higher enchantment levels. And I think that's so far the intention, to make that whole process a little bit cheaper, to give silver a more prominent use. But that said, I want to take the time tomorrow to look at this and give you all a better understanding, because it was released
an
2
hour
hours
and a half
ago?
ago. Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So that said, you can go read this announcement and make your own first mind up about this. But I think the bigger topic that we have today is what happened in the season rankings, in the community, in the leaderboards, right?
Yeah. So let's see.
It happened.
Yeah, it happened, guys. It happened. I want to say something before we go in this, because we're going to talk about this quite a bit. But another battle we've been watching, and for those who are listening at home, we are currently looking at June, the fact that June has passed Money Guild. But I wanted to mention something before we get into this. We've
Okay.
been following the battle for Dunferg all week long, as Blackout has been launching on the Duchy of Lithuania, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, and they have taken them to the final shield, I believe, 3 times now. But last
Wow.
night they were pushed off for the 3rd time by U12 Academy, merking for the Grand Duchy, and it looks like they are not launching again today. So
Oh.
it looks like the battle for Dunferg is at least over for now, and the Grand Duchy has held. Congratulations to the Grand Duchy. Now, back to the actual news that people care about. Money Guild has been fighting June for the better part of 2 weeks. Like, serious fighting, because June decided it was gonna try to make this season competitive, right, Bogle? We were looking at the beginning of this season. We had Money Guild running out to a very substantial lead. They did this after 3 seasons of Blue Army taking the first place over and over and over again, 3 times in a row without much contest. And then at the end of the last season, we saw Money Guild rise up with the recreation of Oops, the retry, if you will. And they used that retry to take Blue Army's cities. It took a week. It was a really exciting week. We got to see lots of city fights. People love city fights. And Money Guild, with the reunification of Oops, brought together a number of great GVGers, some absolutely fantastic GVG teams. And they used those teams to take the cities. And that was like it was demoralizing for Blue Army because, no longer were they just the easy victors, and I guess it was enough for them to say, what we need to do? Take a little bit of a break. We're going to take a break with Season 7. We won Season 4, we won Season 5, we won Season 6, Season 7, Blue Army's going to take a break. And when they took a break, they kind of like assumed that somebody else would step up and challenge Money Guild. Maybe the rest of the world would join together. Some people joined together. You see, there was June. June had its trouble with CIR and the Win Alliance, their previous alliance, and they decided they were going to leave and create an alliance that only accepted good guilds into the alliance. And the first step they did was choose to not invite Crimson Imperium Reborn. And then they added a bunch of other guilds like Vastly Superior, which is a good guild, and some other guilds that were clearly good guilds. And they worked their way into 2nd place. And for the first month and 3 weeks, June scraped by very far behind Money Guild in the race for first, but very far ahead of 3rd. Like they were like 1st and 2nd were light years ahead of 3rd place. But
it's still the case, right?
Right, it's still the case. But there was no chance for June to make up any points on Money Guild, and Money Guild was just getting farther and farther ahead every day by 2, 3, 4,000 points a day. And then a call went out, Bogle.
Like a phone call?
Yeah, like a phone call, but more like a bat signal, like somebody shining a giant symbol into the sky of hope. And they said, let's all pretend that we're good guilds and join Daddy. And we will create the largest mega alliance, relevant mega alliance, that has ever existed in this game. And I say relevant because, yes, we all know Arch is bigger. But, good. Relative term.
Soon, Shozen. There will be a time, very soon, where... Okay, but back to the story.
Back to the story. So, a bunch of good guilds get together and they say, you know what? This is boring. Money Guild running away with first place like this. Let's make it a challenge. Let's all get all the remaining good guilds together. The ones that aren't already in Oops and the ones that aren't over in Sauce or NASA or Mount. There's tons of other alliances that have good guilds. But most of the good guilds all joined Big Daddy, right? And for 2 weeks, They laid siege to the Money Guild point making system. They GVG'd in crystals. They raided the mages. They raided the mages more. And then when people weren't looking, you know what they did? They made it. They raided the mages. They raided those mages, Bogle. They raided the
I
crap.
thought you were going to say it's castles at some point.
Oh,
but...
they did the castles too. But like,
oh, okay.
The castles. Here's the thing with the castles. Yes, the castles are a huge amount of points, but it was the mage raiding goes to a part of the story that comes up just a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, in the first invasion day of the season, nothing happened in Mercia, Bogle. Nothing happened in Mercia.
Money Guild just took it?
They just walked in and took it. Now, Shelty took a few territories up in the north, and 1PG eventually took a couple of territories in the northeast. And then Invasion Day 2 came, and the same thing happened. Money Guild just took it. Nobody showed up. I mean, this time, nobody showed up. The whole thing was just a beet red, like, continent, right?
Wasn't that at the time where Money Guild had the most territories one single guild ever had?
Ever. They hit 3 digits. I think they hit, like, 113. It's incredible. They like a huge number of territories, which we should all give them credit for. Let's be real clear. The only reason everybody in the world who was part of a good guild joined together to fight them was because they were doing so good. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, they all joined together against Money Guild. And in the last few days, on Invasion Day, we saw what we thought we were going to see was that we were going to see people fight for Mercia, right? We thought we were going to see that?
Oh, yeah. We thought this was the showdown of the Invasion Day in Mercia, June versus Money Guild, to compete for these important territories for the finally a fight happening in Mercia after we didn't see one for 2 months.
Yeah.
But instead it came very differently.
Yeah. Money Guild had this interesting idea of not taking Mercia and instead letting June take Mercia and the Daddy Alliance take Mercia. And what they would do is they'd go after June's high point towers, which they did, and they took them, and it looked like it was a good idea. But then June did something 100% and totally unexpected. Do you know what that was, Bogle?
No.
They defended their mages.
What? I thought we figured out that wasn't the thing to do because it takes so much time and effort.
It's boring.
Oh.
This is nobody likes to defend mages. It's a process that's not a lot of fun. You have to sit around, a lot of watching. But for 2 days, these guys went on a 24-hour mage watch, and I got more pings than I got when I was in conflict. Now, for people who aren't in conflict,
about mages?
Yep, about the mages, but in conflict, you get pinged about everything. You get, yeah. I mean, it's a regular ping fest over there. It's like they got to tell everybody every time somebody wins a duel. There's a lot of information going on in conflict, and I think it's all logged and recorded for later use.
As it should be.
As it should be. Yes, but besides conflict, the June guys did work. The Daddy Guild Alliance did work, and they defended their mages, and they got massive amounts of points, while at the same time denying Oops a large point, like a prize. Because when you raid, you get a prize. Now, here was what the idea was in my mind. The idea was to let June get all the towers and all the mages, so that in order to raid mages, they would have to go to other continents to raid mages, and then either choose to be locked in Mercia or in a place where they can raid mages. And Money Guild and Oops would be free to raid all the mages that June had and get all the points from killing the mages that hopefully some of Daddy wouldn't be there to defend because they would have signed up for another continent. That's not what happened, and it was a crushing blow. The defenses were solid, and points were had by all.
It sounds like a good strategy, but if you're saying it didn't work out...
It was... You know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Yeah. I don't know what they say about them. I just know that part of the saying. Best laid plans of mice and men. Sure.
But what my point that I was going to make is about what I said earlier is that I thought this takes a lot of effort and
Takes
a
a
lot
lot
of man hours to defend your mages. And I thought that, or am I correct thinking that they are still doing this 24/7? And even though they overtook Money Guild, are doing this with a massive amount of man hour energy?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's happening, or am I wrong
Yes,
there?
there is a map. Like, look at this. I'm looking at the map right now, Bogle, and you can see that these June towers, they have mages. This
Mhm.
is something we never, like, you would look at Mercia and you just wouldn't see mages. That's just the fact of it. You wouldn't see mages over here, and right now we're seeing mages. And the effort involved in securing and holding mages is real.
So why aren't oops splitting in like 5-person teams and hitting everything at once?
I think they are trying,
Or
but
like
like, if what's going on is that there's actual calls to defend. People are hanging out and defending and working to defend their mages, and having their own mage raiding groups around. And when they notice that there's somebody around, they come back and defend their mages. It's been real, like there's been effort put into it. Now I do notice
Wow.
that there's some places where it looks like some of them have been raided, and there have been some successes. But it's not everywhere, that's for sure. Like, if we go look over here, we've got a scout here hanging out, watching the mages. So it's interesting. We're gonna see how long this lasts. Now we do have to get to some quotes and some updates from the big names themselves,
Oh.
because
Yeah.
I mean Reddit is
Did you have time
often,
to talk to anybody, or where did you find these quotes?
they're on Reddit, the good old fashioned Reddit, if you will, the joys and joys of Reddit. Uh, how do I say, like, it's Derek gets a lot of shit for the character that he plays. He's often everybody's enemy. He is the king that everybody wants to hate. I often give him a lot of crap because I give him the position of the self-proclaimed king who's been king since the beginning of launch and has held a very high seat of power, and everybody wants to punch up. So if there's a character in this game that you're going to punch up at, it's Derek. He's been king the longest, and so he gets a lot of crap for everything, from the way he runs his guild to how he wins his battles to how he loses his battles. But his responses since this thing has gone down have been some of the most mature responses I've seen from somebody on the losing end of a battle in Albion to date, and you have to kind of respect that. Whether he's pouting or not, Fredder for, it doesn't matter. His public responses have been very, cordial. I mean, they've been good. Much better than the responses of the victors in this situation. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit from something one of the victors said. My good man Skuzkabel. Of Aggressor. Aggressor spent tons of millions in help him to take CPs and GVG for him. He launched on me after that this season. Once he was having all Mercia, he decided come to Cumbria and bully me, putting 6 main teams in MG and fighting a solo guild. Yeah, good job, Mr. Derek, but now you have what you deserve, and now I'm happy since you won't win the season. I'm putting the effort in protecting all the mages, playing GVG, showing at every CTA. I have take holiday for make sure you don't win this season. Next time, don't be a rat with the people who helped you. I love it. The salt is real. The Google Translate is real. I love it.
Wait, but he won, didn't he?
He
Wait,
won.
what?
He won. No, like, guy, I see you making fun of Skuzkabel. English is probably like Skuz's third language. Let's be like real here. The guy speaks multiple languages. I don't expect perfection, and usually I can't even read the words that people write. So let's not give him a lot of shit for, any word that's out of place in his Yeah, yeah, it's all good. I want to read this that somebody wrote about Derek. Derek deserves more than this. First of all, for being a shit person. When I was there, I spent with my boy Varys. Oh, I've seen this one. That's just a copy paste. We don't need that copy paste. I've seen that one. Yeah, some people don't like that he requests the best gear and expects you to bring it too. That's the rest of that. Yeah.
So that sounds like before we get to his statement, I sort of want to make that point that some people are drumming the donate or leave mantra there, where it's basically saying, well, you donated, now leave.
Yeah.
Is that what's going into their direction?
Let's be clear. I think that a lot of the people involved in this absolutely, like, one of the things King Mojo had a statement which was one of the more reasonable ones. He said, nobody wants Derek to leave. Like, let's straight up be real here. Nobody wants Derek and Money Guild to leave. They're a great foil. They're a great enemy to have. Derek is one of the most consistent players in this game. He brings forth one of the best GVG teams in the game, and he always makes for a great challenge. So anything where somebody's saying it's time to leave after donating all those sets is just, using the language of Derek back on him and trying to make some kind of meme, if you will, and just, it rhymes, they like a good rhyme. But Derek then responded to another comment about not getting first in the season, and since they're not getting first, they're the worst. Because if you don't get first, then you're just second, and second is just the first loser, basically. So Derek has this to say. To be fair, that's not really what we tried to do. We kept pushing on with an alliance that's there simply to play the game / exist. Oops version 2 wasn't formed on the idea of winning a season. I literally brought it back because Poe disbanded and there's very few people looking to lead this game, as you know. True. 100% true. There's no specific purpose of Oops other than to fight against whatever other power there is at the time. When it was squad, we were banging, and when it was daddy, we were banging. Looking forward to winning seasons as a goal is, unfortunately, something that is imposed by SBI. There's really nothing else. Unfortunately, the guilds we have, including MG, aren't really suited to make this happen. We were number one when there really was weak competition, and now we're no longer number one because there's stacked competition. I'm not saying that I didn't want to win, because I did. But against a stack like that, it's not going to happen. GG. Now, he wrote another one that's a little bit more personal about what he said. This one's the public one that he made to everybody. I believe this other one that I've been sent is one that he made to his alliance. I'm not going to read that one. I'm sure if you want to go and find that one, you guys can. It's another... it's well written, and it's... How do I say it? It's like he's not being an asshole like some of the winners are. So it's good to see that he can lose in with a good face on and then come back and keep fighting, because the last thing I want from this guy is to leave. He's my favorite enemy in the game.
Is this whole June versus Money Guild then decided as of today, just because June overtook Money Guild by 7k points? That sounds very quick to give up.
I don't think he's going to give up, but I do think that his goal never was to grind out for season 1 victory. I don't think he wanted it, like he wanted that third gem. Everybody wants that third gem. But I honestly believe him when he says that's not the goal of what he's trying to do. He wants to...
But isn't that some sort of...
victorious content? Like content with victory. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got to have some kind of enjoyable content on the regular where he can achieve victory, whether that's through a GVG, ZVZ, season victory points, whatever it is. He just wants to bring his guys out and be able to say that they won that day.
Because it's not necessarily related to like specifically his statement here or in general, but sometimes I feel like when people say, oh, we just do it, quote unquote, for the content, or quote unquote, just the XYZ doesn't matter. We're just doing it to have content.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a weird excuse sometimes to me. And I'm not quite decided as to whether or not this applies here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that based on what we read today, that he has a thing that if the competition is so stacked against you that your daily points income might not be matchable, even if you try really hard.
Well, I think that's honestly
Well,
that was the place that June was in before. They could win 50% of their matches against a Money Guild, and because they did not have the same size alliance, they did not have TC backing them up in the ZVZs, they could not compete. They could compete in the crystals, they could compete in regular GVGs, and I'm not saying they could win, even 60% of their matches. It was about 50-50. But without being able to have both sides, they weren't going to be able to win. And then Money Guild, is now finding themselves in a similar position where they can't compete in the ZVZs because of the N+1, which I will say has me a little worried, Bogul.
I mean, that makes it an interesting further discussion as to why so many people decided to take sides against Money Guild and basically support June with their push, because it's a victory through diplomacy. It feels like it's not just the poor power of one guild. So it's an interesting development that a bunch of people come together to push down the current king or winner or projected winner, and this sort of development seems like it's been happening quite a bit in the past, where suddenly everybody just bands together to fight whoever is first, or which might be a thing for another hour of discussion to explore, as to why some people might say Money Guild has a history.
Oh, they do. A lot of people in this game have a history, and that's why I have to show this image that was just sent to me while we were doing this. And this is, I know I said I wasn't going to show the statement that Derek made in guild chat, but I am going to show one of them because, yeah, okay.
But did you confirm this is real, or
I don't know. I don't know if it's real. You read it and you explain what you see to the audience, because I've already had my fun with this and I'm already giggling.
June before Sorahab joins MG, and we see a graph going down, and then June after Sorahab joins MG, we see a graph going up, and he says, "Fuck it, boys, we tried."
They tried. And I think that's real.
Is it that simple?
As it was sent to me, it was sent to me by somebody who wanted to remain anonymous. And so we have to assume this is real. And I will tell you, if you've been watching Money Guild GVGs with Sorab in them, fuck, it seems like he's throwing on purpose, man. It seems like he's really, really, really throwing on purpose at times. I don't know.
I don't believe that theory. That seems far-fetched. But there's so much more to this whole story, because it weirdly encompasses not only the last few weeks, but apparently a whole few last months of both individual guild developments, season developments, previous alliances, banding together, making friends over time, then coming together to sort of fight a common enemy that only made enemies with them a few weeks or months back. And this seems like a whole era of Albion.
It's been
like
it's been
the
quite
second,
an area,
third war.
not an area. I feel like I'm going about the oranges of this event. We'll get back to the oranges of this event. How did this all start? We'll go back to the oranges.
Origins?
Hey, Bogul, that's not how that word is pronounced. We've had it forever changed here in America now. We've had it permanently. You look it up in the Webster Dictionary. It's just freaking changed. They changed it. All right.
Okay.
And on that note, we are to the point where I have to say it's time to start the overtime segment of this show, Bogul. We have run 5 minutes over. We will have a lot more to talk about this, but I do want to read this one saying that Osik099 posted for us. He goes, "There is a saying in my country. It is not important that my goat died, as long as my neighbor's goat dies too."
What? What?
Yeah.
That's sad.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you on that one.
Oh.
All right. And we will be back in roughly 2 to 5 minutes, I would say. And I will give out an extra gold code while we're gone because I need to make some fresh coffee and it's going to take me an extra minute. So sorry about that, guys. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. And to be a pal, while I'm gone, I will go ahead and play Judy Boots so that at least 3 people in the audience will be happy. Oh, Bogul, wait. You know what I should probably say before we go?
Goodbye?
Where they can watch us. Yes, you're correct.
Oh.
You can check us out Monday through Friday at 18 UTC right here on twitch.tv/Albion Online, on soundcloud.com/AlbionTV, and youtube.com/AlbionTV. And Tuesday through Thursday, we stick around quite a while and are here until about 2020, right? That's when we're here till? 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2020 UTC, as we watch the 20 UTC GVGs. So thank you guys for sticking around. We will be back in 5 minutes, and until next time, stay classy, Albion.
I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a